Hello everyone, welcome. So you all know that I love movies and TV shows just as much as I love reading books. And today I am making a video that has been requested for quite some time now, ever since I made my A Clockwork Reader reading list video recommending basically my favorite books slash the books that I would put on my own personal syllabus. I've been asked to make a watch list video in the same kind of style of my favorite movies and TV shows. And I've made a video about my favorite movies and shows before, but I feel like that list has changed greatly since I first made that one. And I have a much more extensive list. It's updated with new things and old shows that I went back and finally watched and fell in love with. So today I'm going to be giving you my A Clockwork Reader watch list. Essentially all of the movies and TV shows that I feel like define my taste, that are just my all-time favorites, and that I think you should watch. And also, if you want a place to log all of the movies and TV shows that you watch, you can use my A Clockwork Reader movie and TV journal, where you can do exactly that. You can keep track of all the movies and shows that you watch, write reviews. There's also space to make lists and stuff. It's like a physical version of having a letterboxd, but also where you can track your TV shows as well. So yeah, a link to this is always in the description, but I haven't pulled her out in like a little while, so I thought it'd be a good reminder in this video. But before we get into all the movies and shows, I do want to thank the sponsor for today's video, which is Merge Cooking. One of my favorite ways to wind down is by playing fun mobile games like Merge Cooking. You get to sort and organize different culinary items and merge them together to complete orders.
It's so satisfying to be able to sort items and merge them and unlock new levels and new items, and you get to see all kinds of culinary items and run your restaurant from Paris to Tokyo.
I love that this game is a puzzle game, but it's still easy enough to play when you have some downtime or if you just need a bit of stress relief. It's totally free with no ads
and no hidden fees, and it doesn't require Wi-Fi, so you can play on the go. Download Merge Cooking now to make time playful. You can click the link in the description or scan the QR code, and don't forget to use my code Clockwork.
Once again, thank you to Merge Cooking for sponsoring today's video, and without any further ado, let's get into my favorite movies and TV shows. Alright, so we're going to start off with my favorite TV shows, and then we will get into movies. I don't have a set number for each of these. We're kind of just going based off of what I feel like is at the top, and what I feel truly defines my taste. If you've watched my old video about my favorite movies and shows, this has changed a little bit. Some of the ones that were in my top 5 before I would not consider top 5 shows anymore. I still love them, absolutely adore them, but they're just not in my top 5 shows anymore. It's been several years and my tastes really have changed. A couple of those are not there. Don't worry, my all-time favorite show still hasn't changed. I don't really think that it ever will, but just wanted to give that disclaimer. In no particular order, apart from like the top 3, these are my all-time favorite TV shows. We're gonna start with the few that you've heard me talk about countless times, and number 1, my all-time favorite show is still, of course, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It doesn't matter how many times I watch this show, it doesn't matter how old I get, I will never get tired of it. I still think it is a masterpiece. I've talked about this show so many times. I've made an entire video on the live action adaptation they made, which was horrendous. We don't need to go there, but yeah, if you've still, for whatever reason, never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, I can't recommend it enough. You absolutely should. It is chef's kiss, the greatest thing ever created. My second favorite TV show of all time, which you guys have also heard me talk about countless times at this point, but this was not on that list when I first made this video because I hadn't watched this show. I only had heard about it. I'd seen the very first episode, but I had never watched the entire show, and as of last year, I watched it, it consumed me, and now it is my favorite live action show probably ever made, and that is Interview with the Vampire. I cannot express the depths of my love for this show. It is everything I want out of TV. It's everything I want out of good storytelling. It's everything I could ever want, period. It's gothic horror romance, it's vampires, the costumes are amazing, the actors are unbelievably incredible. Everything about it is so good. And again, if you still haven't watched Interview with the Vampire, this is your sign. Please watch this show. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked the book, and I watched the movie years and years ago, and it's one of my favorite October Halloween rewatches just because I think it's so campy and absurd. It's kind of unbelievable to say, but neither of them, like even the original source material, is as good as the TV show. The TV show tops everything. There is just something in this, some kind of drug that they have put in this show that has made me fall back in love with TV and given me hope that scripts can still be good. But yeah, it's one of those things that I like so much that I can't even talk about it properly. There's just so much depth to this. You could analyze it from every angle, and that's what I really love to do in all of the media and art that I consume. Give every single actor in this show an award. I'm so serious. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is on this level in terms of the writing for the script, in terms of the actors, in terms of the costumes, the set, the soundtrack, everything, everything. No one is on this level, and this show does not get the attention it deserves. It's popular online, but I don't think it's actually that popular. Unfortunately, it needs a bigger fan base. I know it's not for everyone, and that's fine. I just need it to not get canceled. This show needs like 5 seasons to make a complete perfect arc, and I will be so satisfied. It will go down as like the greatest TV show of all time. I already know it. If they stay consistent with their current level of great writing and great acting and everything, it will genuinely be one of the best shows ever. Truly ever. Anyway, that's why I need more people to watch it. I talked about vampires and the sun went down. Anyway, moving along to my third favorite TV show, we have Anne with an E. I've rewatched this maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't know at this point. It's a lot. Not as much as other shows on this list though. I've seen Avatar way more times than I can count, and the next show on this list I've seen at least like 10 times. So yeah, if it's on this list, I have seen it all the way through at least twice, probably around 3 times, because that is just how I watch things when I love them. Anyway, all that said, I adore Anne with an E. This is truly such a tragic case of a show getting canceled before it should have ended. There was so much potential here. There was so much left to do with this storyline, and this show did not deserve to end when it did. Again, we have a show with a beautiful script, gorgeous setting, fantastic actors, a beautiful soundtrack, all around just perfect. And it is just so heartwarming to watch. It's very sad at times, but it is also probably among the happier shows on this list. I tend to watch very sad, dark, tragic, dramatic, disturbing things. That's kind of the stuff I like. But this one is definitely more lighthearted at times. This is like a feel-good show for me. If I'm feeling down and I just want to watch something that will raise my spirits and make me happy, I will put on Anne with an E. It's just so phenomenal. And I'm so sad that they canceled it because it deserved so much more. You're gonna hear me say this 1,000 times for every single show and movie I recommend in this video, but you need to watch Anne with an E, okay? Like, everyone needs to watch Anne with an E. If you like Anne of Green Gables, the book, you will love this. Even if you've never read it, you will still love this show. You'll notice throughout this list, I have a thing for historical dramas or any kind of period dramas. I'm very picky about them, but they are kind of my favorite genre of TV, and this is no exception. Definitely one of my favorites ever, and if you're into that genre, this is my top recommendation. Okay, next up on my list, we have my favorite anime of all time, and just plainly one of my favorite shows of all time. I don't think that this will ever leave my top 5 favorite shows. It'll definitely never leave my top 7, but it still hasn't left my top 5. So she's still here, and that is of course Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I know that for the longest time this was like the highest ranked anime or like everybody's favorite anime, but I genuinely don't think that people appreciate this enough. Especially like now that other things are getting more popular, everybody wants to talk about Attack on Titan or like all of these other super popular anime. They all pale in comparison to this show. I do always have to clarify, I am specifically talking about Brotherhood, this 2009, I believe, remake of the manga. So not just Full Metal Alchemist the show, which I have also seen. Brotherhood specifically, I've watched this I think 10 times all the way through. It's actually been like maybe a year and a half since I've rewatched the whole thing, 2 years. I haven't watched it for a little while, and I have to watch it again because I love it that much. Not to hate on Attack on Titan for a minute here, but I'm going to because it's necessary. My hot take, and it has been since the first time I watched this show, is that Attack on Titan is just a poorly done fascist version of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That show slash manga, whatever, wants to be Full Metal Alchemist so badly, but it never will be. Because the messaging behind that one comes from like a fascist perspective. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is like an anti-colonial perspective. This show is so incredible, okay? Like, I cannot emphasize enough how well done and well-rounded the characters are. The plot is incredible. It has a lot of political themes and messages that I think are very well done, and it's just unlike any other anime. I recommend it to everybody whenever they tell me that they want to try watching anime. This is always my first recommendation because it's the perfect place to start, and it's not really going to get better than this. It's really not. So I'm sorry, it is going to be the best one you ever watch and nothing will ever top it, but you're gonna have an incredible experience. All right, next on my list of favorite shows is a slightly more recent watch. I watched this for the first time in the last 2 years, and I've since watched it like 3 times because again, it's just that good. And that is of course Succession. I love a toxic, tragic family that is never going to work through their problems and everything is going to fall apart. I love sibling stories where the siblings resent each other, hate each other, love each other, and constantly sabotage each other. Basically, I love Shakespearean tragedies and histories because that's essentially what this is. And I love social commentary on billionaires and the Murdoch family. That is what Succession is, and it's phenomenal. Succession is probably one of the funniest shows I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, the humor in this is unparalleled. The jokes, the comedic timing these actors have, again, phenomenal acting on everyone's part. Like, there's no single weak link in this show, and everyone is just unbelievably good. The script is so sharp and witty, and it's beautifully shot. From start to finish, there's not a single miss, not one bad season, not one bad episode. Everything about it is so entertaining and it's just perfect television. It took me so long to finally watch this show, but I'm so glad that I did. It is truly one of the best things I have ever seen. Okay, next on my list is an older favorite that I have watched I don't even know how many times, like probably 4 times all the way through. I love this show so much. I think I've maybe talked about it once years and years ago, but this is one of my favorite shows of all time, and that is Peaky Blinders. I love Peaky Blinders. This show is so good. It's very violent, very dark, but it is also unbelievably well written. This show has some of the best characters I think I've ever seen. There are very few characters I don't like, and even if I don't like them, you love to hate them because they're still so well written. Everyone is morally gray and complex and very intricate. The plots are interesting. Sometimes it has moments where it's a little bit too rushed. The ending of the show definitely had some flaws, but overall it's just so good, and I can't recommend it enough if you like more action-based historical dramas. This one's very violent at times. It gets really dark, so keep that in mind if you're deciding to watch it, but it is so, so good. Okay, the next show on my list is a more recent watch as well. This is one I watched for the first time this year, thanks to all of your recommendations. And that is, of course, Black Sails. Again, I love political historical dramas, particularly ones in which some disenfranchised group of people are fighting against the government, particularly the British government. I love that genre of television, okay? And this is one of the best ones to do it. We have pirates who band together to revolt against the British crown and fight against them for all the crimes they've committed against humanity. And it's just so good. Plus, fantastic characters, amazing relationships, everything, including the plot, is so well developed, and it is just beautiful. It's again dark, very violent. If that's not your thing, you may not like this one as much. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Thank you to everyone who recommended this to me. You know my taste to a T, and this show is exactly that. I love it. I truly love it. Like, I can't express enough how you go from hating a character, despising their guts, thinking you're gonna be completely against them the entire time, to suddenly they become your favorite character in the entire show. I can't tell you the number of times I cried watching this. I laughed. I was on the edge of my seat. I literally was pacing the room at one point because I was just so stressed. It's that good, it is that well written, and it does not get the appreciation it deserves. This is truly one of the best shows I've ever watched, and everybody needs to watch it. Okay, now for a little bit of levity. I don't only watch dark, tragic things. Sometimes I do like comedies, although I would consider this one a much darker comedy. It's not like a sitcom. But next on my list is Fleabag. I think it's indisputable that Fleabag is one of the best shows ever made, particularly the second season of this show. I think about so many scenes of this show on a regular basis. I quote it all the time. I just feel like it changed something in my brain when I first watched that second season. It's truly so, so good. The first season's also fantastic, but the second one really cemented this as one of my favorite shows for me. I've since seen it like 3 times, and I know I'm gonna watch it again and again. This is also something I put on if I just kind of want a laugh. The core of the show is actually really sad, but the humor that she uses to express some of these darker and more disturbed feelings feelings, I think is just unbelievably well done, and it's hilarious, and it's just so relatable and real, and it's such a good show. I know so many people love it, and rightfully so. And so it's made its place on my list now. If I were to recommend any kind of comedy, it would be this one. So those are my top shows. I do have more that I absolutely love that I could totally mention. Better Call Saul is one that almost made this list. I love that show so much. I think it's phenomenal. Andor, which was a recent watch, I feel like I would just have to watch it again for it to fully be cemented as an all-time favorite, but it is phenomenal. So I did want to mention those two really briefly, but yeah, I would recommend those as well. I also have like a whole list of some of my favorite TV shows in general if you want to check out some of the other ones, and I'll leave that link down below. Okay, but now moving on to my favorite movies. This list has expanded exponentially since the last time I made this video because I've watched so many more movies. I was never a movie person. I've always been really into TV shows, but I never watched that many movies. I kind of just rewatched my favorites and didn't venture much outside of that. And in the past couple of years, I've really been watching a lot more movies. I'm still not that well versed in cinema like some people are, so there's still a lot more for me to experience and explore. But as of right now, of everything that I have seen, this is my current list of the ones that I would consider part of the Clockwork reader watch list, the ones that I think define me and my taste and that I would recommend to you. First up, we're gonna go through the few that I did mention in my last video of my favorite movies. And number one, my favorite movie of all time is still Howl's Moving Castle. I love the Studio Ghibli movies, and several of them are some of my all-time favorites, but Howl's Moving Castle is my number one. She's always in the top spot, and I don't think that's changing. I love Spirited Away, I love Castle in the Sky, I love Whisper of the Heart, but this is my top one. Anytime I'm sad and I want to watch a movie, this is what I'm gonna put on. Anytime I don't know what to watch, this is what I'm gonna put on. Someone I know hasn't seen it, it's immediately getting played. I love this movie. It is so beautiful. Everything about it from start to finish. So many people love this movie and I've talked about it. You have probably seen it, so I won't spend that much more time talking about it, but yes, this is my favorite movie. Keeping on theme with animated films, one of my other favorite movies, which I recently rewatched, and another movie I put on when I want to both feel good but also cry, is Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. I love Spirit, okay? I watched this movie for the first time probably the year that it came out as a kid, and ever since then I have never stopped thinking about it. And I think it was earlier this year I rewatched it for the first time in probably like 10 years, and I forgot that this is literally one of the greatest movies of all time. It's so good. It holds up so well. The animation is beautiful. The soundtrack is unparalleled. The story itself, it makes me cry just thinking about it. It's so good. This is the type of movie where I finished rewatching it and I was like, they couldn't make this now. I don't feel like a studio would allow you to make a story as good and as explicitly political as Spirit is for children nowadays. I don't think that they would let you make this anymore. And that is so sad because this movie is so beautiful. I literally listen to the soundtrack all the time because the songs are incredible and the movie is just perfect. This has to be on this list because I think that genuinely watching this as a kid shaped the way that I think about a lot of things and a lot of my beliefs. It had a profound effect on me, and to this day it still makes me cry every time. If you've never seen Spirit, I'm sure most of you probably have, but if you've never seen Spirit, you're about to have your whole life changed. These are also in like no particular order because it's really hard for me to rank my favorite movies. Apart from Howl's Moving Castle, everything else on this list kind of changes depending on my mood. But anyway, next we have, of course, another movie I've talked about countless times, and that is Pride and Prejudice 2005. This is easily still on this list. It's not going anywhere. This is just such a comfort film. It's so warm and cozy and pretty, and I know it so well at this point. A lot of why I like it so much is nostalgia, but I also just think it's a fantastic film. It's so well made. I love when they shoot movies on film because I just think it looks gorgeous, but it's also a movie with substance. I think it does a really good job of adapting the original story. The actors are fantastic, and it's just so iconic. Next, we have another one that I believe was also on my original list, and that is Little Women 2019. This is another one where I just feel so comforted when I watch this film. I grew up reading Little Women and watching the play all the time as a kid, but I never watched any of the other movies. So when this one came out, I went to go watch it with my family in theaters, directors, and I fell in love. I think Greta Gerwig's a fantastic director. Everyone loves this movie, and for good reason. I love Saoirse Ronan. Every time I've ever seen her in a movie, she does a fantastic job. I think the whole cast is incredible, and there are so many lines that are so memorable to me. I know that everyone's favorite is the monologue that Jo gives about how she's lonely, which I love that scene. It's beautiful. I think about it all the time. But the one I constantly think about is the scene when Meg is getting married and Jo says to her, "You'll be bored of him in 2 years, but will be interesting forever." I think about that every day. Every single day. This movie just warms my heart. It's still in my Letterboxd top 4. I can't take it out of there. Have I seen movies that I think are objectively better? Yes. But do I love those movies more? No. Unfortunately, she's not going anywhere. This movie's just too special to me. Okay, next up, we have a movie that I watched for the first time last year that completely wrecked me and made it onto my list of my top 4 on Letterboxd and my list of all-time favorites, and that is Dead Poets Society. I think I talked about this once in a tier ranking or something I did, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can ever watch it again. I probably will, but it destroyed me in a way that I was not expecting. I literally feel like I'm gonna cry again just thinking about it right now. I actively try to avoid thinking about it. I felt so connected to this film. Something changed, something shifted in my brain when I finished it. I really thought that this was just going to be some movie about these pretentious, rich white boys who go to a prep school, and I was not gonna relate to it and I wasn't gonna care. But my God, did I care about these white boys so much. I cared so much. I'm literally gonna cry again. We have to move on. I really thought this was one of those movies that people just overhyped and talked about too much, and they just like made it out to be something that was like more special than it really was. I was so wrong. I'm the exact demographic of people who would love this movie, and I don't know why I thought I wasn't, because I think I just didn't really understand what the movie was about. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, no. Yeah, I was deeply unwell when I finished this, deeply unwell. I still feel deeply unwell every time I talk about it. It's so good. I've seen objectively more depressing films easily, but there was something about this that felt so personal to me that it hurts me in a way that other movies that are objectively more sad don't. And that's the thing, you know? Sometimes that happens to you. Sometimes you connect with something so deeply that you can't even talk about it. Like me with Dead Poets Society. Okay, next on this list is a movie I watched this year for the first time, actually. We have a couple of those, but this is one that I think just objectively is one of the best movies I've ever seen. From start to finish, the script, the set, the cinematography, the actors, everything is pure perfection. And that is Before Sunset. I think I talked about this a little bit earlier this year, but this is the second movie in a trilogy, actually. There's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and then Before Midnight. I don't remember what the third one is. I've only seen the first two, and I actually watched this one first before I watched the first movie. I don't think you're supposed to do that. However, I would actually recommend watching this one first. You don't really need to watch the first one if you don't feel like watching it. I did like the first one a lot as well, but this movie on its own, phenomenal. Almost the whole movie is shot in one take, or at least very long takes where the camera does not cut, and so basically feels like watching a play, which I love. And the whole film is just one conversation that these two characters have for the whole 2-hour runtime of the film, and it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful. I watched this and I was like, oh, I think I love film. Like, I think I love movies. I feel like in terms of style, it defines a lot of my taste in what I like in film, and I just came away from it in awe. And that's how you know that you really loved something, and it's really stuck with me since I first watched it, and so I had to put it on this list. All right, next on my list is, of course, I've talked about these countless times as well, the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm counting the whole trilogy. I don't really care. My favorite one is either the first or the third. I can't make up my mind. At this point, kind of the first one is my favorite most of the time, but it doesn't matter. All three of these movies I count as one movie, and they have to be on this list. They're so classic. These are probably the movies I've rewatched more than anything in my entire life. I have no way of keeping count, and I will watch them a million more times throughout my lifetime because they are just that good. I'm waiting for the day where they make another fantasy franchise that is on par with the Lord of the Rings movies. Nothing has ever even come remotely close. Okay, next on my list is another slightly more recent watch, and that is Pan's Labyrinth. I watched this for the first time last year, and again, everything I watched that's on this list somehow altered my brain chemistry. I, for some reason, was under the impression that this was a movie made for children. I don't know why I thought that this was for kids. I think it's because the main character is a kid and it's like fantasy based, and so I saw people talk about it from that perspective and I was like, oh, okay, so it's a kid's movie. It's not a kid's movie. This is a dark movie about war, and it's really sad and it's really disturbing and upsetting, and it's not for children, but it's amazing. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors. The other movie that I would also put on this list is Crimson Peak. I love that movie as well. There's something about the cinematography in his films that is just unlike anybody else's. It's just visually so beautiful, and that's what a film should do. Like, the medium is meant to be watched. It should be visually very interesting, and the color grading that he uses in his films I think is always so fitting for the narrative that he is trying to tell, and I think that he does a fantastic job in both of these two movies. He's easily one of my favorite directors. I love the stories that he chooses to tell, and I love the way he chooses to tell them. Okay, the next movie on my list is Parasite. Is it cliche to say that this is one of my favorite movies, even though it's like one of everyone's favorite movies because it's considered one of the best movies ever made? Sure. Do I care? No, it literally just is so good. I think Bong Joon-ho is a fantastic director. I have loved every single one of his movies I've ever seen. I loved Mickey 17. I loved Snowpiercer. I want to go back and watch the rest of his backlist as well, and I'm excited for anything new that he's making. But Parasite is a perfect film. It really, really is a perfect film. Start to finish, it's suspenseful, it's funny, it's so real. It makes fantastic social and political commentary. And in terms of more suspenseful thriller films, I would say this one perfectly defines what I like in movies. So yeah, really, really loved this one, and if you've still never seen it, this is me telling you to go watch it now. Okay, and finally, the last three movies on this list, I wasn't going to include them originally, but I feel like I have to. It's just because I've watched them more recently, so I'm worried that there's a little bit of recency bias here, but I still can't stop thinking about any of them, and I really do think they're gonna stay on here. So I'm gonna talk about each of them kind of briefly, but as of right now, these three movies are still some of the best movies I've ever seen, and I want them on this list in some capacity. So the first one is Society of Snow. This is a movie I did talk about in a video earlier this year because I watched it, I think in January or February, sometime early this year, and I loved it. This is based on the real story of a plane crash in the Andes Mountains in 1973, I think, in the 1970s. A team of rugby players in high school were on a plane and the plane crashed in the Andes Mountains, and it's the story of how these boys survived in these horrific conditions. This movie no, this movie is gonna stay on this list. I know I'm saying that like, oh, this is more of an honorable mention. No, it's on this list. It is one of the most beautiful, most hopeful things I have ever seen in my entire life. I walked away from this movie reinvigorated with a love for humanity. I felt like there is hope in this world. I felt like you can overcome insurmountable odds, unlivable circumstances, if we care about each other and love each other enough, because that is the message of this film and the message of this real life story. I don't know how to describe how much this movie affected me, and I feel like the filmmakers did a fantastic job of not sensationalizing what actually happened to these real people, but just telling the truth and telling an honest story, and I really appreciate that about it. But as a film itself, it's also beautifully done. The soundtrack is incredible, the cinematography is unbelievable. It's everything about it is just so good. Highly, highly recommend watching this movie and learning about this story. All right, the second to last film on this list is I Saw the TV Glow. This was my favorite movie I watched last year, and I still think about it on a regular basis. The way that I cried watching the end of this film was unlike anything else. It was like a Little Life levels of sobbing. I was unwell. I was like heaving. I couldn't breathe. Not because I was even sad. It is sad. Don't get me wrong. The movie is sad. It was hopeful and also gut-wrenching. And that combo and the way that this movie delivers its message to you is just unlike anything I've ever seen. It is beautiful, beautiful horror in a style that I had never seen before. It's so unlike anything that you will watch, and it is such an important film. I really do think it's one of the best films made in recent years, and one of the best horror films made in recent years for sure. I can't even like think about the end of the movie without my chest constricting, because it just, it really, really affected me, and like, not everything can do that. And when a film can really move you in that way, it's achieved its goal, and I really can't recommend this enough. Literally scratch what I said earlier. All three of these final movies are officially on my list of all-time favorites. I can't take them off. I like them too much. Anyway, go watch I Saw the TV Glow. Okay, and finally, the last movie on this list is one that I didn't think would be on this list. I thought that I would like this movie, but I did not think that almost a whole year later I'd still be thinking about it all the time, and that is After Sun. This is a very quiet, slow-paced, mellow film. It's a very introspective and character-driven film. So you really spend the majority of the movie in the heads of these characters, and it tore me to pieces. It was so beautiful, and the relationship between this father and daughter in the film, which is the whole crux of the film, it's an incredible commentary on depression, living with someone who has depression, and it really deeply moved me. I think about it so much, and in particular I think about this one scene where the characters are dancing, and it makes me cry every single time. But yes, I love After Sun, and I really can't recommend this one enough. But there you all have it. That is it for my A Clockwork Reader watch list of all of the movies and TV shows that I love and recommend. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. I hope that you got some good recommendations out of it. Hopefully you haven't seen some of these and you can discover something new. And if you have seen any of these, please let me know your thoughts on any of them. And also, based on what you can tell from my taste of the shows and movies that I love, leave me any recommendations you have in the comments down below. I would be happy to take them. I'm always looking for something new to watch. Again, don't forget to click my link in the description box and use my code Clockwork to download and play Merge Cooking today. If you would like to follow me on any of my social media, all of my links are in the description box as always. But thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!